Everybody, welcome back to Thea World, to our hotel and app booking engine with Angular 6, Material 2, and Firebase Part 2. Now, this is the Part 2, and I'm trying to break down the project into many parts and making the videos a bit shorter so that everybody can choose in whichever video they want to watch, right? I'm also going to be focusing on the project as well, not just on Material or Angular or any technology in particular, but I'm going to focus on the project as well. So this is actually a real life project. Now I'm going to open terminal, and basically I'm going to check where I am in the terminal, pwd to print working directory. So I'm going to change directory into Thea Hotel. And I'm in Thea Hotel, right? So I'm going to run the server, and at the same time I'm going to show you guys how to keep the server running, your application running, but also running commands in another terminal. So I'm going to do ng serve. So that's going to run the server. And at the same time, while this is happening, I'm going to open, I'm going to go to the Finder, and guys, again, you can click on Go, go to Folder, go to the root, and click on Users. Mine is Thea Tutorials. I'm going to grab Thea Hotel. I'm going to drag it over to Visual Studio. And in the last section, I'm going to close the welcome page. In the last section, we are in last part 1, we're in Material module. We created this so we can add all our material components. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to take an example. I'm going to take the easy examples just because there's absolutely no reason to take the hard examples because we are working on a particular project. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some easier examples on how to implement these material components. Not easy, but just more simple, just so you guys understand the concept. And then on the next parts, because we're going to end up building the real examples, so there's no point of showing you here on how to add a card, for instance. So I'm just going to choose the badge, right? So if you come on to components here, so you're in the material.angular.io /components. I'm just gonna /components, and all you're gonna do is just come back scroll down and click on badge. So right here you can click on the API, and this is the mat badge module. And of course, you can just copy all of this, but I just want to show you here some examples. You can read up on the overview. And what you want to do is look at the HTML. And what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the button, the button elements, right? Because again, this is a button element with an attribute or with attributes. So that's a bit different than adding material components that are elements, material elements. So that's that's a button, that's an HTML element as well. So we're gonna copy this, and so remember what I said, it's just an HTML element. So I'm gonna come over here, and if you want to add, actually just follow along with me. If you go to app component.html, you will notice all this stuff here. Since we're running our server and our server is successfully compiled successfully and it's running, I'm going to show you this page here, the app component.html. Everything you see here, the welcome to. We're going to open another window. We're going to type in localhost 4200. And of course, here is our application. This is where we were in the last section, in our part 1. So on Visual Studio in app component.html, remember we copied the badge, and the badge is basically a button but with certain attributes. So I'm going to select all this and I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to paste the button elements. So I'm going to paste the button element, and of course there's this mat raise button attribute with the color of primary, and the mat badge. This is the attribute that that is basically doing all the magic. And if you save this, Obviously, nothing is going to happen in over here. In fact, you're just going to get this thing. And the reason why is because you actually have to come back to material module. And what we have to do is actually import this. So it was Mad Badge, right? So you're going to just come over here. And you can just click on API, or you can and just grab this, right, Mad Badge module, and come back here to Visual Studio. Back to your material module.ts file, and you're going to import, and you're going to paste that in. You're going to import the Mad Badge module from @angular/material. And what you want to do is you want to add it into your import array and into your exports array. And remember, this is a Mad Badge module, right? So if you save this, now back to our app.component.html, this is the Mad Badge module. Okay, it's not the button. So if you come back here and we run and we refresh here, you will notice that you will see the 8. The number 8 here with circle, right? The badge. But the button is still not nice. It's not the same as the example over here. But what we're forgetting here is, and that's why I want you to know, like when you're working on this, what we're forgetting is the fact that we have a button here. So you actually have to click on button, and you need to click on the HTML here, and notice that we have a button here, and if you a button is a button, right? So the Mad button module is important to have, because this is the element. Yeah. So what we have to do is basically copy the Mad button module, come back to Visual Studio, and go to app.component.html. App.module.ts. Sorry. And what you have to do is basically do the same thing for the button, and you want to import this Mad button module from @angular/material, and you want to add it also to your array, and you want to save that. And when you save it, you come back again to your application, and so you see, and now everything works. So that's how you add material components. So of course, like I said earlier, there's other examples that are more complex. For example, the cards, and you can go ahead and experiment, but I just don't want you to give up or to feel discouraged, because we all have like if you click on this example, for instance, you want to add this. So I don't want you to be discouraged from doing all this, because there's a lot of components, a lot of attributes involved, and as you can see here, there's a TS file. Obviously, we'd have to create a component for this. And then there's the CSS, and I just don't want to do it in this part here, because in this part I want to actually focus on the project as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start creating components, and well, the components we're gonna create is for the hotel. So this is gonna be components like the home, the accommodation, the food and beverage, lifestyle, weddings and celebrations, offers, and components like this that most hotels want. Well, the most hotel websites not want. It's so important for a hotel website, right? So I said earlier that we're going to keep the server running, and we're gonna at the same time run commands. So remember, you're in your terminal. This is your terminal, and your server is running, and this is your page. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to come back to Visual Studio, and in the app component.html, I'm going to just basically, I'll just leave this for now. But I want you to open the integrated terminal inside Visual Studio. And what you have to do is actually click on View and click on Integrated Terminal. So once you do that, it's going to automatically open it in the same folder that you're in. But you should always do a PWD just to check that where you are, and you're in Thea Hotel. And in your app project, you're gonna have a different name, obviously. So what we want to do now is we want to start creating components, and for each page, like for the rooms and suites, the food and beverage, the lifestyle, and all these pages of a hotel, for instance, like the login, the logout, we're going to create components for them. And we're going to start with the home page. Actually, no, we'll start with the accommodation, food and beverage, and lifestyle. And then we're going to go to the login pages. And we're going to be adding components as we go. But I just wanted to show you also in this part on how to add, how to properly add these components. Now, there's different ways you can do it manually, but I'm not going to go into that because there's absolutely no reason to show you how it's done manually. But I'm just going to run the command here in the terminal. So what we're going to do is basically type in, we're going to create our accommodations components. So we're going to type in ng. And the next will generate. We can type in generate as well, but we're going to type in G for sure. It's a shortcut. So ng G, ng space G, and then space C, and C stands for create. So ng space G space C space accommodation space dash dash module space app dot module. And we're gonna hit enter now to run this command, and it's going to create a component called accommodation. And inside the, as you can see here, and inside the app folder, it created an accommodation component, and this is going to be our accommodations pages. And obviously, there's the accommodation.component.specs, which is actually not necessary at all. You can actually go ahead and delete that. I'm going to delete it later on, or you can just delete it now. And that's going to be our accommodations page. Okay, now, in addition to that, we're going to add a bunch of them now. And inside the accommodations page, we want to add rooms and suites. Actually, we're going to add, we're going to add rooms. And we're going to add, what else? Accommodations, and we're going to add the rooms, right? Okay, so what we want to do is you want to just hit the up cursor, when you're in the terminal here, you're going to hit the up cursor button, and it's just going to repeat the same thing, but don't hit enter. So what we're going to do is come back here with our cursor in accommodation, and I'm going to put a /. I'm going to type in rooms, sorry. And again, I'm going to come back here with my cursor, and I'm going to hit enter again. So now this is what's going to happen. It's going to create another component inside the accommodations folder. And as you can see here, it's created the rooms component. And again, you can go ahead and delete this rooms.component.specs file. So now we have accommodation, and inside accommodation, we have rooms. All right. Great. Now we are going to do the food and beverage, the lifestyle, and then the weddings and celebrations and offers pages. So we're going to do the same thing again. Type in ng space G space C space, what are we doing? Food and beverage. So food dash beverage and food dash beverage dash dash module app dot module. Okay, I'm going to hit enter. And now we have a new component. It's the food and beverage module. Great. Okay, I'm going to just hide this. I'm sorry, guys. Oof. I hope my tutorial didn't get ruined. I was hiding this screencastify. It's absolutely unnecessary to be there, and I hope this wasn't blotting your view. So inside the food and beverage module, we want to add, I'd say, another couple of components inside the food and beverage. So when people click on food and beverage, they want to see other child pages such as restaurants, bars, and other parts of the hotel that belong to food and beverage. So for now, let's just do the restaurant and bars. Okay, so let's do restaurant and bars, perhaps, or nightclubs. Let's say restaurant and bars. Okay, so let's do the restaurant and bars, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna run the same command. We're gonna type in ng. Sorry. We're gonna come back here on terminal, type in ng dash generate dash, so ng dash g. Oh, sorry guys, ng. I'm sorry, ng space g space c, and we're going to type in this. Basically, we're in the food and beverage. And inside the food and beverage, we're gonna put a / so we can add our restaurant. Okay, so we're gonna add our restaurant, and we want to put dash dash module space app dot module. But I'm just repeating the same thing. I'm redoing it again because I want to ensure that all you guys were all on the same page or in the same timeline. So I'm gonna basically hit enter, and when I hit enter, it's gonna create a component called restaurant inside the food and beverage folder. So now inside the food and beverage folder, you're gonna notice that we have a restaurant component as well, restaurant folder. So from now on, I'm just gonna hit the up arrow so I don't have to repeat everything. Okay, and I'm gonna just modify my command. So that's my last command, and this is my second last command. You can just keep hitting the up arrow or down arrow. So I'm just hitting the up arrow once, and I'm going back now to my previous command, and instead of restaurant, I'm gonna replace restaurant with bars. Okay, and I'm gonna come back to over here, I'm gonna hit enter, and we're gonna have a bars component as well. And you can see here on the left, there's the restaurant, and then there's the bars, these two. So obviously, we're gonna have to have components for the inside, like inside the restaurant. We're gonna have obviously like a big resort will have several restaurants, right? We'll have like the Greek restaurant, the Italian restaurant, the Japanese sushi restaurant. So we're gonna have to create components inside those inside the restaurant component as well. And obviously inside the bars, we're gonna have like several bars. Any 5-star resort will have a few bars inside the resort. But for now, I'm not gonna bother because I don't want to like overcomplicate things because you guys already know how to create those components. And what I'm gonna do, obviously, we're gonna come back in the future and create more components inside these components. So now we created the accommodations, we created our food and beverage, and we want to create our lifestyle because remember, resorts do have spa and wellness and activities and excursions, right? So this is really, really important, guys, because as developers, you can't just think of just coding. You literally have to think as directors as well. You have to think as UI designers. You have to think as design directors, and it's important, that you don't just become a coder. Because coding, I mean, and when I say just a coder, I don't mean any disrespect to any people who are really, really good at what they do. I mean, I don't even call myself a coder, but of course there are specialists, and it's different if you want to go become a specialist, and it's another story when you want to be an entrepreneur. There are two different fields of work, and it's a good idea to try in the beginning when you're first starting off to be an entrepreneur at the same time. Okay, you want to be an entrepreneur at the same time, and then later you can specialize and either be a marketer, you can be a coder, and then even specialize even more and be a specialist coder, or whatever you want in whatever technology you want to specialize in. But it's important to actually think of the overall thing at the same time, because a lot of I work with a lot of people who just specialize on one thing, and sometimes it's good, but a lot of times it's bad because they haven't really had any experience with anything else. And it's a good idea to experience everything else, and in the end, you choose a specialty, all right? So it's important now that you listen to what I'm telling you in regards to, and I'm not telling you, I'm just, I have experience in the hospitality industry, and I just know for a fact that these hotels, 5-star resorts, it's really important to show their lifestyle, because people actually go to resorts for their lifestyle as well. Okay, not just because it's a 5-star hotel or because it's located on a beach. All right. So on the lifestyle section, we are going to add. We're gonna run the same command on the up arrow here on our terminal, and what we're gonna do is gonna go backspace, and I'm going to backspace all the way to the food and beverage until the last letter there. I'm gonna type in lifestyle. I'm a really bad speller. Lifestyle, and we're gonna create the lifestyle component, and we're gonna hit enter. Okay. Now, after we create now you're gonna see the lifestyle component is gonna be created inside the app component, and we're gonna hit the up arrow again, and we're going to create another component called wellness and spa. This is so important. 99% of resorts have this / wellness. Wellness dash and dash spa. Okay, I'm gonna hit enter, and we are going to create another component called the resort activities, wellness and spa. Resort dash activities. Doesn't matter where you are on the cursor. If you hit enter, it's going to work. And we're going to generate another component. We're going to call it experiences. And hit enter. And then another component, we're going to call that excursions. And hit enter. And another component inside the lifestyle component, and we're going to call this, you can call it tours, but for now, you know what? Let's just leave that for now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump to another page. I'm just going to backspace here so you don't get confused, and I don't get confused. And we're going to jump into the weddings and celebrations. Now, resorts in general, obviously in North America or Australia or England, weddings and celebrations usually happen in banquet halls or whatnot. But you got to remember that in tropical climates like the Caribbean or Asia and other exotic destinations, a lot of tourism happens on the weddings section where people come to get married. So weddings and celebrations is really important. Okay, it's a huge part of resorts. They make it's a big part of their revenue on how they make their extra revenue on weddings and celebrations. So it's important to add that in. Okay, now I'm gonna add weddings and celebrations component inside the app component. Okay, so let's just come back here, and we're gonna type in weddings. Yeah, let's just type in weddings, okay? Because it's weddings and celebrations. I mean, we can put in weddings and celebrations, but I think it's better to separate weddings and celebrations. So let's just come back over here and generate a component for weddings. Okay, and this component of weddings is going to be inside the app component. It's going to be one of our main pages. Okay, we're going to hit enter. And inside the weddings, let's put in the Western weddings, and let's put Thai weddings as well. Or we can put whatever, Vietnamese weddings or whichever part of the world. I'm in Thailand, so I mean Thai weddings. So weddings / Thai - weddings. And we're going to hit enter. And then another component, but we're going to add, we're going to remove Thai weddings, and we're going to put in Western weddings, Western - weddings. All right, and we're going to hit enter. Okay, great. Now we want to do the celebrations part. So we're going to come back here and we are going to remove all this. And the reason why I put celebrations different is because I'll tell you why. Is because there's many different types of celebrations. So, and we can actually change that later to events, but let's just leave that for celebrations for now. Um, so celebrations and hit enter. Okay, great. Now inside celebrations, we'll just leave that for now because I haven't worked on that yet. But there's all kinds of celebrations in a resort, and they sell all types of celebrations. And one very, very important component is the offers component. The offers is going to be one of the most important components. So let's just create a component for offers. Okay, we're going to come back here and type in offers. And we're going to hit enter now. And now we have another component called offers. Okay, guys, so now we have all our components. I'm going to call this off because it's been a long video, and obviously, as you can see, this isn't really just about Angular. We're creating a real life project. Again, I'm stressing this in because I don't want people in the comments to say, hey, we already know how to do this, and like just move on, show us how to do it. I just want you to know I'm actually spending a lot of time and putting a lot of time into this because we're also developing an online travel agency. And in the same time we're developing an online travel agency, I decided to branch off and create another branch and develop this hotel app with booking engine as well. And this is why I'm going through to you with this. This is a tutorial on creating a hotel booking engine. So it's a whole entire package together, guys. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. On part 3, we're gonna start adding. Oh, actually, no. One second. Let's just create one more component, which is the authorization, the auth component. I'm very sorry. The auth component. Very sorry, guys. Our auth component, and hit enter. And inside the auth component, let's put a login. No, sign in. Sign in, because that's so important. Sign in, and inside the auth component again, let's create another one, which is sign up. Okay, sign up. I'm very sorry for doing this. Totally forgot. The sign up and sign in, that's so important. All right. Okay. Okay, later we're going to also create memberships, but for now, sign in and sign up, let's make it simple. So we have also the auth component as well with sign in and sign up. Again, this is a full entire project. I'm really excited, guys, to move on to part 3, where we're going to start adding, basically creating our header, our footer, our side navigation, and on part 4, we're going to start adding material components inside each page, right? And we're going to also use Firebase to authenticate the user, and with social login and social sign up, and that's going to be in part 5 and part 6. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get into this deeper. And like I said, I'm working on an online travel agency with my team, so we're like literally working like 15, 16 hours a day. No joke about that. And I just want to share this because it's part of Thea Worlds. It's part of our vision to educate the people and create this Thea World Foundation, not just as a digital agency, but also as a place where people come and learn, because we believe that education should be free and everybody should know how to develop, how to program. And I really look forward to part 3. Thanks very much, guys, and see you guys in the next tutorial on part 3. Okay, thanks for watching.